All right, let's talk about something every founder knows all too well: expense tracking. You know that feeling, right? That growing pile of receipts, that task on your to do list that you just keep pushing off. It can be a huge pain. So today, we're going to dig into why it feels that way and, more importantly, what you can actually do about it.
And this quote it nails it, doesn't it? The problem isn't that you hate being organized. Of course not. You've grown up in a world where everything is instant. You can send money, get food, book a flight, all in seconds. So when the tools you use for your business can't keep up, they don't just feel a little slow. They feel completely broken.
So let's just get one thing straight right off the bat. If you're having a hard time keeping your expenses straight, it's not a moral failing. You're not lazy. It's a huge sign that the system you're trying to use just wasn't built for the way you actually work today. Okay, so let's dive into this first big idea, what we're calling the friction problem. We got to understand why these old school systems feel so clunky and just wrong for teams that are trying to move fast. I mean, really think about it. You can deploy code in minutes. You can close a major deal entirely over Slack. You get paid instantly through digital wallets. And then you're supposed to sit down for an hour and fight with a spreadsheet and a folder of crumpled paper receipts? That gap, that jarring disconnect, that's the friction, and that's where the whole thing just starts to break down. And look, this isn't just about you being annoyed. This is way more than just an administrative headache. All that friction, it leads directly to a much, much bigger problem. It can actually put the brakes on your company's growth. You know how it starts. It's simple enough, right? One little receipt gets shoved in a drawer, or an email receipt gets buried in your inbox. It's just one, no big deal. But then, one receipt becomes 5, then 10, and you tell yourself, oh, I'll get to it Friday. Then I'll do it at the end of the month. The longer you wait, the bigger the task feels, the fuzzier the details get, and the more you just want to avoid it. And just like that, poof, you no longer have a clear, real-time picture of your company's finances. You're staring at numbers that are weeks old, trying to guess what that charge from Stripe was for. The clarity you absolutely need to make good decisions, it's just gone. This is the moment that administrative mess turns into something much worse: strategic paralysis. When you can't trust your numbers, you can't make fast, confident decisions. And if you can't make fast decisions, your entire business starts to slow down. And believe me, that hesitation has a real, tangible cost. You end up delaying that software purchase that your team really needs. You start second-guessing whether you can actually afford to hire that amazing person you just interviewed. Every one of those little moments of doubt and delay, it adds up. It creates this invisible drag on your company's momentum. So what's the fix? Well, it's not about trying harder or being more disciplined with a bad system. It's about a complete shift in your workflow. It's about moving away from those old manual methods to something that's actually built for the here and now. I mean, just look at the difference here. On the left, you've got the old world, spreadsheets, manual data entry, always feeling like you're a month behind. But on the right, you have the modern way of doing things. Access from your phone, snapping a photo of a receipt in 2 seconds, and getting instant visibility. It's not just a little better, it's a totally different game. And here's why that matters so much. When your financial data is clean, up to the minute, and always available, it just wipes away all that uncertainty we were talking about. You know exactly where your money is going. That clarity gives you the confidence to make better decisions, faster, and that speed is what directly fuels your growth. Okay, this brings us to a really, really critical point. Because when a lot of founders are faced with financial chaos, they make one huge mistake. They assume the answer is to add more complexity. But the truth is, simplicity is almost always what wins. Yeah, we call this the complexity trap. You think to yourself, okay, things are a mess. We need more rules. We need a 5-step approval process. We need a spreadsheet with 20 columns. You fall into this trap of believing that adding more layers will somehow give you more control, but it almost never works out that way. Because here's what actually happens. You add more rules. That creates more resistance, not just from your team, but from you too. The process becomes a chore, so people start to avoid it. And what's the ironic result? The accuracy of your data gets worse, not better, because people are just skipping steps or putting it off altogether. Which brings us to this core idea. A simple system that everyone on your team actually uses consistently every single day that is so much more valuable than some perfect, complicated system that nobody ever wants to touch. Consistency over perfection every time. So let's kind of zoom out and reframe this whole thing. What are we actually trying to do with expense tracking? This isn't just about making your accountant happy at the end of the year. The real goal, the true prize here, is control. See, this is a huge mental shift. Expense tracking stops being this boring, reactive chore, something you have to do for tax season. Instead, it becomes a proactive, powerful tool. It's like the central dashboard for your business, giving you the real time intel you need to actually steer the ship. And that feeling of control, it really stands on three pillars. First, you get control over your spending. You know exactly where every single dollar is going as it happens. Second, you get control over your planning. You can actually create budgets and forecasts that mean something. And finally, you get control over your decisions, so you can move forward with real confidence, knowing your financial foundation is rock solid. So we're going to end right back where we started, with that same question. After looking at everything, the friction, the workflows, the true goal of control, it's really worth asking yourself again, if your expenses are a mess, are you really the one to blame? Or is it maybe time to find a system that was actually built for the way you work right now?